I'm Greg D. Doug. I started working at a public policy think tank. I've met really fun, smart people working to solve big problems. I asked some of them if they'd come talk about their work and how good public policy makes the world a better place. And all they asked for in return was pizza. Hey guys, we're back and we've got more episodes coming, so let us know what you want to hear about in the comments. Now I've got to go pick up somebody much cooler than me, Mitch Kokai. Mitch is a staple on the North Carolina policy scene. He's on UNC TV almost every week.
Good to see you.
Greg. Yeah,
Great.
So I guess we're going to be talking about some policy and eating some pizza.
That's what we do.
Let's go. All right.
Mitch has a background in journalism, including extensive coverage of the North Carolina General Assembly, and he's also an expert on the North Carolina judicial system.
Okay, Mitch Kokai, welcome to the car.
Well, thanks for having me in the car. It's a nice car.
Thanks. It's a $5,000 car.
Aww. But it looks like $1 million bucks.
So tell us a little bit about what you do and what sort of things you study along policy lines.
My name is Mitch Kokai, and I'm the Senior Political Analyst at the John Locke Foundation. So I look at a number of different things. I'm a generalist, but I think one of the things that we're going to be focusing on this time is something that I've been doing a lot more in recent years, and that is focusing on the courts. They have such an impact on so many of the other things that we care about.
Right.
If you care about education, then you got to care about the courts. If you care about taxes, to some extent you have to care about the courts. If you care about health care, you have to care about the courts. Even if you are into fishing, you have to care about the courts, and I think we're going to be talking a little bit about that later.
How do the courts function in the state versus in the federal government?
Yeah, there are two separate systems, and that's important to note, because if you file suit in federal court, usually you're trying to say that somehow your federal constitutional rights were violated, like the right to free speech or free assembly, freedom of religion, that sort of thing. If you file a lawsuit in state court, sometimes you're alleging that your federal constitutional rights were violated. Other times, you're going to say that there was a violation of your state constitutional rights, which could be a little bit different. There's the district court, which would deal with mainly minor offenses, and then the superior court, which is the big deal. Like in a criminal case, if someone's charged with murder or robbery or rape or something like that, that's always going to be in superior court. The North Carolina Supreme Court, which is the highest court in the state, it's the one that deals with issues of what our state constitution says and how it affects criminal proceedings and these lawsuits as well.
Mitch, we're going to Papa's Pizza.
Okay.
Do you like pizza? Are you a pizza fan?
I do love pizza.
Awesome.
I like pizza too much.
Okay.
So I have to ration my pizza because I like thick and thin crust. I like the cheese in the crust, the pepperoni in the crust, the regular crust.
Okay. Yeah, so our pizza is getting made, and it'll be here soon. I was curious, how the courts affect public policy.
Probably one of the biggest things for people is education.
Yeah.
One is this long-running case called Leandro, which could mean hundreds of millions of dollars, maybe even billions of dollars of additional money going toward education, which has been going on since 1994. Where the courts may step in and say, you haven't been spending enough money on education, we're going to make you spend more. We're going to order the money to be spent. So that's an issue that's making its way through the courts.
What is the court case that involves opportunity scholarships?
Yeah, there's a case that's called Kelly versus State, and it's led by Tamika Walker Kelly, who's the head of the North Carolina Association of Educators. And they basically are saying that these opportunity scholarships are unconstitutional. It's a case that's working its way through the state court system right now, and depending on how things come out, either parents will be able to continue using these opportunity scholarships to send their kids to a private school that meets the kids' needs better than the traditional public schools, or the program could get killed and the judges will be the ones generally who will decide.
Wow, that's pretty drastic.
Yeah. the courts have an impact on healthcare, and one area where that's true is in this whole thing called Certificate of Need,
right,
which is a program that the state has where if you want to build a hospital, add beds to a hospital, buy some major piece of medical equipment like an MRI machine, or even provide some types of services, you have to get state permission to do so. You have to get a permission slip called the Certificate of Need. So if this court case is successful, then that Certificate of Need program would go away, and we'd have a lot more competition among various providers that would lead to more access to healthcare. So that's a big deal, and it involves the courts. Elections are also impacted by the courts. The way the maps are drawn determines who is your representative, or who's your senator, or who's your member of Congress.
Yeah.
Courts decide how those maps get to be drawn,
right,
and whether we have voter ID. You know that North Carolina has tried a couple of times to enact a voter ID law. That has been challenged in the courts, and judges will be the ones who will end up deciding whether we have voter ID or not. A lot of people in North Carolina like to fish.
Yeah.
We, of course, are a coastal state, and there is actually a court case moving through, just got through the State Court of Appeals, that said that the constitutional amendment that we passed in 2018, protecting hunting and fishing rights, actually gives this group called the Coastal Conservation Association the right to sue the state over not protecting the fish for fisheries. They're saying that these state agencies have allowed commercial fishing to go run amok, basically. This conservation group should be able to sue the state because it hasn't done enough to protect the fish.
Well, that was really good pizza, and this is Papa's Pizzas.
Yeah, excellent pizza. We got the meat pizza, and there was so much meat on there, you had a hard time keeping it on the...
No, if the pizza's not a giant mess, it's probably not a good pizza.
That's right. This was an excellent pizza. A1 choice, Graham.
And I learned a lot about judges in North Carolina, and just thank you so much for sharing the day with us.
Well, thanks for having me, and it was good to talk about the judges and help people learn a little bit more about something that's an important part of their lives that they probably haven't thought a lot about. And it's always great to get some pizza.
Yeah.
If you want more info on the North Carolina judicial system, check out the links in the description, or look up Mitch Kokai on carolinajournal.com and johnlocke.org.